I I don't know what to say. I really don't. Hey there, guys. This is Cole. Welcome back to another movie review. Today I'm doing an epic rant, which I haven't done one of these in a little bit, but today's awful movie I'm going to be reviewing is Slender Man from 2018. Now, you might be asking, well, why am I reviewing this movie? Well, the reason that I'm actually and by the way, if my camera was a little blurry, sorry about that. Just part of the lens on my phone was a bit blurry, which but I just cleaned it off now. That's why I paused the video, so I do apologize for that. But now you might ask, well, why am I reviewing this movie? Well, recently it was announced that Siren Head, the viral 2018 creepypasta, which became a big internet meme with, several creepypasta videos, TikTok memes and stuff, that creepypasta is getting a horror movie. And so I figured, why don't I, since that's getting a movie, I figured, why don't I tackle one of the creepypastas that already has had a movie? That, of course, being Slender Man from 2018. And this is a movie that, many people hated when it came out, rightfully so, because it's a terrible movie for reasons I'm going to get into. But, however, this year, earlier in 2026, we finally got a good movie based on a creepypasta, and that was the 2026 movie Backrooms, which is based on the viral 2019 creepypasta by 4chan, which in 2022, the 2019 creepypasta Backrooms had a web series of videos on YouTube by a YouTuber named Kane Parsons, aka Kane Pixels. However, the YouTuber Kane Parsons, who was responsible for the web series based off the creepypasta, finally directed a feature-length movie adaptation of Backrooms that came out earlier this year. And guess what? It was actually a good movie, unlike this piece of dumpster fire. Yes, I know. I know. I'm almost 3.5 minutes in, and I haven't talked about this movie. But to be honest, what is there even for me to talk about? What, really? But I guess because it's a review, we'll go on with it. But, so what is the plot, if anyone actually... So the plot to this movie, if anyone actually cares, is four high school girls perform a ceremony to summon internet boogeyman Slender Man. Once they see him, they can't get rid of him. And one by one, the girls are driven mad, die, or disappear. So that's basically the premise of this movie. But anyways, how was this movie made? Well, in 2016, Mythology Pictures purchased the distribution rights to the character of Slender Man, because for those of you guys who do not know, Slender Man was a creepypasta, because Slender Man first started off as an internet creepypasta that was invented in the year 2009 and, really exploded in popularity. I mean, Slender Man, like I said, the fictional internet creepypasta was first invented in 2009, but, afterwards, not only was there, the very first creepypasta of Slender Man, but there were also a couple of, videos on YouTube about Slender Man when it came to different creepypastas of the character. And then, of course, in 2012, there was the video game Slender, the 8 pages for PS3, Xbox 360, and PC, which, actually, interesting story, when I was in high school, when the teacher wasn't looking, I actually did play the video game Slender, the 8 pages on a computer, and that was actually a pretty cool game. Much better than this abysmal movie, though, I could definitely say that. And then, I know, 2 years later, there was, a video game follow-up called Slender, the Arrival, but I never played that game, but I heard that game was pretty terrible. But, however, anyways, getting back to the making of this movie, in 2016, Mythology Pictures purchased the distribution rights to Slender Man because they saw the potential for the character with the movie. However, the movie was heavily studio interfered due to an incident that happened in 2014 where basically, I'm not going to get into all the details, but basically, long story short, in Wisconsin, there was this girl who did something very illegal and there was this girl who did something very messed up and very illegal, and she blamed it on Slender Man. And thanks to that terrible incident, the studio interfered with this movie. The studio, Sony, or Screen Gem Entertainment, which is Screen Gems, which is a company produced by Sony, heavily studio interfered with the movie. And before I continue any further, what happened is absolutely messed up. And honestly, the girl who did that is an idiot. I mean, the way I see it, if you are not able to separate fiction from reality, then you shouldn't be on the internet. That's just the way I see it. But enough about that. Anyways, when this movie came out on August 10th of 2018, the movie was a huge box office bomb. The movie was made for a budget of $10 million, and it only made $51.7 million worldwide, which I know what you're thinking. Well, how was that a bomb? It made its money back. I mean, yeah, technically, but the studio was expecting the movie to do better. So in their eyes, because I don't think people understand how marketing fully works, box office, not only does the box office of the movie matter, but, marketing is a big factor of it, and, and the marketing didn't do well for this movie, and as a result, the movie bombed. And quite honestly, this movie deserved to bomb because it was awful. And that's the thing that sucks is that I actually do like I said, I am a fan, even though I do not like the person who did that terrible thing in 2014, blaming it on Slender Man, even though I do not like that person. When it just comes to the fictional character of Slender Man, like the creepypastas and, videos on YouTube, I actually do like the creepypasta, and I do think that Slender Man is a creepy character, and it is a character that, actually could lend itself to a good movie if it's done right. But this movie's not done right because it's watered down to a PG-13 rating, which, if you're gonna do a Slender Man, that's not how you do a Slender Man movie. But I know I've gone on for 8 minutes, but I had to get that off my chest. Let's just get into the review and continue this garbage. Let's just get into this garbage so I don't have to talk about it for too long. But anyways, so the movie starts off where we are introduced to a group of 4 girls, played by Joey Kane and some other actresses who I don't know the names of, and quite honestly, I don't care. Now look, no disrespect to any of the actors who were involved with this movie. I mean, I'm sure these actors are nice people, but however, when it comes to the characters and the way they are written in this movie, I didn't really like the characters in this movie. And quite honestly, I saw this movie once in 2018 when it came to home video, and I hated it then, and rewatching it almost 8 years later, I still hate this movie because it's so boring. That is the worst sin that any movie can commit, is being boring. But anyways, so the movie starts off where we are introduced to a group of four girls who go to high school together, and there's this girl named either her name is Ren, or her name is Red, I think. I don't know. I don't care. These characters are so bland. They don't have any personality to them that I cannot tell you anything about these characters. That's how dull and forgettable they were. Again, I do not blame any of the actors involved with this movie, but what I do blame is the script and the material that they were given. But anyways, the movie starts where we're introduced to these 4 characters, and they basically say, if you could stay any age forever, what would it be? And Haley, which is one of the girls, basically says 21, and, and the other girl is like, okay, And then one of the other girls is like, how about the ages we all are right now? I mean, you know, we enjoy high school and stuff like that. But one night, they basically hear about Slender Man, which is basically this entity that Slender Man, for those who are not familiar with the actual creepypasta itself, Slender Man is like this tall figure it stands about, if I remember correctly, it stands about Slender Man stands about 7 feet tall, has like a completely pale, it has a pale white head, but guess what? Slender Man does not have a face at all. No mouth, no nose, no eyes. And it is meant to be a creepy, disturbing image. But, like, basically wears, like, this black suit. And it has, like, these tentacles that can come out the side of its body to grab people with. Again, the idea behind it is disturbing. Unfortunately, that's not the case with this movie. Because, again, this movie is not scary. And the jump scares in this movie are absolutely cheap and lazy. Like, the jump scares, they are so predictable, they are so cliche, you can see it coming a mile away. I mean, this movie is nothing new, people. I mean, like you've seen this type of movie, like, you've seen this type of cliche movie done before. Like, you've seen this type of movie done before. And in all honesty, like, there are movies that are not related to Slender Man at all, but, you know, have themes of this that are done significantly better than this piece of garbage movie. But anyways, getting back to the review, long story short, the 4 girls, they basically go on a website. They basically decide to watch a video, and they decide to summon Slender Man, the main villain of the movie. And as a result, one of the girls goes missing. And a girl by the name of Katie goes missing. And throughout the course of the movie, these, you know, Katie's friends are trying to figure out, you know, what happened to Katie and stuff like that. And even though I thought this movie was terrible, there is one positive quality I do have with it. Now, I forget the name of her dad, but the character Haley in the movie, I thought that the actor who played Haley's dad, not Haley herself, but like the actor who played her dad, he was good. Like, honestly, like, the actor who played Haley's dad was good in the movie. In fact, honestly, he was probably the best actor in the movie. Now, granted, the actor who played the character's dad was not in the movie very long because he's not the main focus, but I thought that the actor, for what he was given, I thought the actor did a fine job. I thought he did a fine job acting-wise, and honestly, he is honestly one of the only few bright spots in this abysmal film. But that's not enough to save this awful, dreadful movie. But anyways, getting back into the review, throughout the course of the movie, the girls, they basically find out that, you know, I forget the name, but like there's an account on like a website that basically Haley messages, and Haley is one of the characters, but basically this account basically claims that there is a way that, you know, Haley and her friends can get Katie back. And that is basically the plan of that is they basically have to blindfold themselves, and they basically have to give something to Slender Man that Slender Man wants in order to get, you know, Katie back. Which, you know, okay, that seems like a solid idea because the police have absolutely zero leads and they're trying to get to the bottom of it. So it's like, okay, like that's a solid idea that could get her back. But it does lead to a huge problem, which we're going to get to soon. Guess what one of the characters does like an idiot? A girl by the name of Chloe. Here's the thing. I forget the character's name, but the character played by Joey Kane, she basically put something down for Slender Man to take, but the girls all agreed to put blindfolds on, and the girl played by Joey Kane literally says to Chloe, she literally says, do not, under any circumstances, take your blindfolds off, no matter what you hear. Because the thing is with Slender Man, once you see him, like, it's gonna result in one of two things. Either A, it's gonna result in death or complete insanity. Neither of which is a good thing. But guess what? Even though Joey Kane's character literally told them to keep their blindfolds on like an absolute moron, Chloe takes her blindfold off and she sees Slender Man. I'm like, you moron, like, you're really not gonna listen to your friend? You're gonna take your blindfold off? I'm like, come on now. Like, have some common sense. But anyways, like I said, Chloe took her blindfold off. She saw Slender Man, and throughout the course of the movie, she starts to go insane. When it comes to the character Haley, she has a younger sister by the name of Lizzie, who earlier on in the movie, Lizzie is basically asking if, you know, Haley knows what happened to Katie. She's like, you know, don't you? And she was like, but she doesn't, here's the thing, she doesn't want to tell Lizzie, because then Lizzie will tell the parents, and, you know, because basically the girls are into the occult stuff, but, you know, this movie clearly shows them that that's not a good idea. But in all honesty, again, these characters are so dull and bland that I did not care for. Okay, the only character who I thought was okay was, I thought the actress, I thought Lizzie, the younger sister, I thought that she was okay, and I thought that Haley's dad was an okay character too. But aside from them, the rest of the characters are not good like, they're not necessarily, you know, a-holes or anything like that, but they're so bland and uninteresting that I really could care less whether these characters survive or not. And that is not a good thing. Like, if you're gonna give me a horror movie with a group of characters, you better give me a movie with characters that I care about. And this movie doesn't do that! Anyways, like, again, getting back to the terrible CG, like, this movie's got some really bad CGI. Like, the CGI effects in this movie are absolutely atrocious, and the editing is so terrible. And I know that they got an actual actor to play Slender Man, and they got him to wear a suit, but in all honesty, like, you cannot even tell that that's the case in this movie, because the CGI effects are so bad that even the practical suit does not look good. That's how horrendous the CGI overcover of it is. Like, come on now, people. Like, come on. Really? Did you really have to use so much CGI? Like, come on. Come on. You couldn't have used practical effects in the year 2018. I mean, this movie only had a $10 million budget. I mean, heck, even the 2016 horror movie Terrifier, granted, that's an independent movie, but you want to know something? All this, but now, regardless of what people want to say about that movie, guess what? The special effects were all 100% practical. So if that movie can do it, why can't this movie? Why? I need to calm down. But anyways, getting back to the review on this trash fire of a movie, basically what happens is, Joey Kane's character tells Haley that, you know, you cannot avoid Slender Man. And she said, we summoned him, we watched the video, but all this stuff happened, and Katie's gone, and, you know, she basically tries to tell Haley that, you know, Slender Man is not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop until we're all dead. Like, and she was like, oh, you think you could just walk away and have a normal life? And she was like, Slender Man is gonna haunt your life. I'm telling you this now. But of course, she doesn't listen, and she goes to her boyfriend's house, and once again, we get another terrible CGI jump scare where basically her boyfriend's head spins so fast, the head spins so fast that, like, you know, that you can't even see the face, with some really horrible CGI effects. And then basically the boyfriend asks if she's okay, because the boyfriend stops doing what he's doing, and basically Haley says she needs a glass of water, and her boyfriend basically pulls up a website with the video that they watched to summon Slender Man, and he asks, is that the website? But Haley tells him, do not open that, promise to me you never will, and the boyfriend promises. But then, guess what? The movie has a terrible ending where, now granted, I don't care for the characters, but the ending was still garbage, where basically what happens is that Haley, her sister Lizzie is in the hospital you know, because of some trauma and stuff like that. Because everyone, because that's a trend nowadays. Because everyone has to have trauma in movies. And look, I would not be against that if it is done well, but this movie is an example of how to do it the wrong way. But basically, the movie ends where, guess what? Everyone, all the girls, minus the exception of Lizzie, Haley's sister, die. They all die at the end of the movie in a really horrible CGI fashion. And the movie ends with some really stupid narration, and yeah, and then the movie just ends. So yeah. I know this was a long rant, but I had to get all this off my chest. Like, this is just such a bad movie. Like, okay, before I end this rant, are there any positives? Okay, I guess if I have one positive, I thought that the actor who played Haley's... If I have any positives, I guess the actor who played Haley's dad, he actually did give a decent performance. And when it comes... And there are some scenes where we do see some drawings of Slender Man on the wall. And now, granted, the design of Slender Man in this movie is absolutely horrible because of the terrible CGI. But when it only comes to the drawings of Slender Man on sheets of paper, the drawings themselves are actually good in the movie. But that is it. Other than that, Slender Man is a garbage movie that I would highly recommend everyone avoid, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give this dumpster fire a 1 out of 10. Thank goodness. Well, the review's over, guys. I never have to talk about this movie again, so yeah. Anyways, guys, that was my rant on Slender Man. I want to hear from you guys down below in the comment section. What do you think of this movie if you've seen it? And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this epic rant. And, yeah, we'll talk to you guys real soon. And hopefully the next review was more positive. But, yeah, I got to get ready for bed. Work night anyways, so goodbye, everyone. And take care.